What's going on, guys? So the year's coming to an end, and this year was an excellent year for microfishing for exotic and tropical species right here on Long Island. We had unusually high water temperatures, and I cannot believe all the species I was able to catch. So in this video, I just wanted to showcase everything I caught throughout this year. I was able to catch these fish using a combination of trapping, dip netting, and sabiki rigging. This year made me really wish I had a saltwater tank. I think I'm going to get one for next year. So here are 32 species that I caught from shore on Long Island, New York this year. Enjoy.
All right, so first off, our snowy grouper. This was by far the most common species of grouper I came across this island. I found them just about everywhere, and they appeared to be migrating south because here in this picture in September, they were staging up in an inlet, which made me think they were about to move offshore. Next is a scamp grouper. I was able to catch a couple of these really beautiful fish, but not quite as common as the snowy grouper. And the third species of grouper I got this year, this is a gag grouper. All right, this next one's a fairly common tropical I saw this summer. This is a short big eye, but a really cool looking fish. There's really big eye. You can tell they're meant for deep water when they're adults. Now this next one, this might have been my coolest catch of the year in my opinion. I was really shocked I got them. When I had first seen them the month prior, I didn't even know what it was. It looked almost like a jellyfish going through the water. So this is an African pompano, and they have these long tendrils that they use to feel. And these fish, they grow over 50 pounds when they're big. You know, people catch them in the tropics, but we do have juveniles here in the Northeast, and they are extremely aggressive. This next one was a wild-looking fish. So this is a blue-spotted cornet fish, and this is an extremely large specimen. Now, this next fish looks like it's from another planet. This is a scrolled cowfish. They get a little bit bigger, and the colors change too, but they're a hard-bodied fish, and you know their bodies don't really move. They just kind of move their fins. And yeah, he was pretty easy to net, but very weird-looking fish. Now this may have been the year of the orange filefish. Starting in July, I saw tons of real juvenile ones, and then later in October, we got a run of adult ones, and I was catching them like every day. I couldn't believe how many of them there were, but yeah, another wild-looking fish. Now this is a juvenile cobia. I got a number of them this year, I think about 5. Really cool looking fish. They swim around. Most of them fall to snappers, you know, in the early fall. Wasn't able to get any adult ones like I did in 2020, but yeah, pretty cool. Now this here is a 4-eye butterfly fish. I caught this guy, you know, at the end of the season in November when they were, you know, basically dying from the low water temperatures, and they were just kind of laying on the surface just to get some warmer water, and they were pretty easy to net then. Now this is another species of butterfly fish. This is a spot-fin butterfly fish, more common than the 4-eye, but yep, same story. You know, at the end of its life here, it was in the surface of the water, freezing. Now out of the jack species, each year we seem to get more of, you know, one and less of the other. This year was definitely the year of the banded rudderfish. There were so many of these guys. When they're smaller, they had more of a lime green color. This guy is a little more mature, and he kind of just has like the bluish and black stripes. Now this next one is a pretty cool find, really small, but this is actually a permit, and these guys, you know, grow massive in the tropics. But it was kind of cool to catch one, and at this stage in their life, they almost have like a black color to them when they're, you know, silver as they mature. Next, this is a fairly common one we see. They have these crazy blitzes, and you can almost tell by looking at them that they're not snapper blitzes. This is a Jack Crevalle, and they actually get pretty big, you know, by the end of the season here on the island. Now, this next fish isn't an exotic, but I just put it on here because I've never seen one quite this size. This has got to be like record size. This is just an Atlantic needlefish. It's so big I thought it was a houndfish when I caught it, but after a closer examination, it's not. It's just a giant Atlantic needlefish. It measured in at 24 inches, so 2 feet. Now this here is a mangrove snapper. We saw lots of these guys, again, really small. You know, they were all up against the walls, and you were able to net them, but you had to be able to find them. This year we had tons of lined seahorses, you know, from July through, you know, through like the end of November, which was kind of crazy. But yeah, here's a really cool looking one. This next one here, this is a ballyhoo. You know, they get bigger. They're very common bait fish used for offshore fishing in the tropics. But yeah, we get little juvenile ones here. This here is a spot. We got a lot of these this year on both the North Shore and the South Shore. Cool fish and really good bait. This next one here is closely related to the previous ballyhoo, but this is actually an American half-beak. Similar look, but their body pattern is different. Here we have a northern senet. They're in the barracuda family, as you can tell by looking at them. Extremely aggressive fish, and this here is a really big one. This here is a striped burrfish, a juvenile one. We had tons of these this year. You're able to net them if you're able to see them swimming. They don't quite look like a fish when they're not inflated. But yeah, another wild looking fish. This one here is not an exotic fish, but it's cool nonetheless. It's an oyster toadfish, a juvenile one. I found this guy in my trap. This next one here is a sea robin. Again, not a tropical fish, but have you ever seen one this size? Pretty cool. This here are feather blenny. I found tons of these guys in my traps this year. When I used to see them on my underwater cameras, they have these things that are like antlers. They're really cool looking. Here they're folded down on their bodies, but anyway, cool fish. This here is spotted hake. Here in mid-December, there's still tons of these guys around. Small. They grow bigger, but lots of these guys found in my traps. This is a cool one. Again, not an exotic fish. We do have these, in adult size locally, but this is a northern stargazer. It's cool. This guy's so small, but when I first caught him, I was able to tell exactly what it was just by looking at it, because it's just a miniature version of its adult self. That they can get enormous, in their adult size, like pushing 9 pounds. And they're wild fish too. They have venomous spines as well as an electrical shock they're armed with. So cool fish. These here are butterfish. Again, not, an exotic fish. It's a local bait fish. We have nothing too exciting about them. But what's cool is that they live inside this big cannonball jelly. This here is a round scad. Kind of cool colors on this guy. We didn't see too many big eye scad. Usually we get more of them, but this year I only came across round scad. And here in early December, the squid spawned late. Usually they spawn like in the summer, I believe. I'm not totally sure about this, but yeah, here in December when I was squid fishing, I noticed lots of little baby squid swimming around, so I was able to net a bunch of them, and it's cool. You can see even this little guy here, he was able to ink even at that small of a stage. Now these here are another wild fish. These are skillet fish. They have this suction disc underneath them. They almost kind of look like leeches, but they're a fish, and they can suction. You almost can't even pick them up when they suck down on something. And here's a pigfish. I got this guy in my trap. I catch a lot of these guys, in like Tampa Bay, but it was cool to see some of them up there. I know some people got some that were a little more, like porgy size, but this is a small one. But yeah, a pigfish. All right, and this last fish is a Spanish mackerel. Not exactly an exotic fish because we do get them regularly here on Long Island, but we're at the furthest northern extent of their range, so I would consider them, a tropical pelagic, and they're delicious eating fish.
Alright guys, if you wanted to see any of the videos of catching any of these species, you can look back on my YouTube channel from this past year. If you caught any species that I didn't catch, please let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you don't follow me on Instagram, make sure you do that. Be Sprex, same as YouTube, and I will see you all in the next video.